necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
I have so many friends that are no longer here. Why he took them away and left me here, I'm not clear. I guess I have more to do, and he has more assignments for me to complete. I still can't believe that you want to use me, 'cause I often fall down, and I'm so imperfect, but you still love me when I feel I'm not worth it. Oh, it could have been me, dead and gone, but you never left me all alone.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM,
the
Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its
Hello.
management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Right. That lady's saying that she's not responsible for anything that we get on here and say, that everything we say is our responsibility. So she's right. She's right. Welcome to Ask Elaine. Y'all get ready to call in. Call-in number is 478-250-1444, and we want to hear from people today. We don't have an in-studio guest, but you can be our guest on the phone. So please call us if you have a question, if you have a concern, if you have a service request, anything that you'd like to talk with us about today. We'd be glad to hear from you. 478-250-1444. So please give us a call. Welcome, because we're on, you know that it's Wednesday, and this is Ask Elaine. This is your voice, Commissioner Elaine Lucas, welcoming you to the program. We're so happy to have you there. And I hear a lot of good comments from people, and I get a lot of good feedback from folks who say that they enjoy the program. They like hearing more details on items and issues that are going on. So if anybody has questions about a particular issue, something that you've seen in the news that you'd like to hear a little bit more about, if you'll call us, I'll be glad to share what information I have. And if we feel like it's a really, really interesting topic and one that we need to do some in-depth discussion, then we'll get a guest in to talk about it, just like we had Dr. Smith, the new administrator at the health department last week, who shared a lot of good information. And then we had your Senator Lucas, hot off the highway from Atlanta, bringing you the latest news. And we're going to talk with him too in some subsequent weeks about the possibility of there being a gambling, casino here in Macon and in some other places, some other cities in Georgia. You know, you may be opposed, you may be in favor of it. A lot of people leave here going to Alabama, going to Mississippi, and going to a whole lot of other places, a lot of weekends, taking that money to those other states. So we'll just see what you think, but call us and we'll be glad to kind of get some information in for you, or we'll give you our opinion on it. There are a lot of other things going on. We want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank former Mayor C. Jack Ellis, who, by the way, is still in Africa. I believe he called the other week and he was in Uganda. He is really enjoying it over there. And by the way, I think it was Ghana where they recently discovered oil. So now that's something else for a country like that. Just think of where they're going to put it in the education system and the roads and everything. That's just great. But anyway, just as soon as former mayor is back in Macon, we're going to talk with him, and maybe once in a while he'll give us a call from Africa. He has to judge the time because there's such a time difference. But we want to thank him for being a sponsor and supporter of this program. We want to thank Senator David Lucas for his sponsorship. We want to thank the Middle Georgia Informer. We also want to thank Sheriff David Davis, and we're going to have him on because there's some topics that I know he wants to discuss, some prevention activities and other things that are going on in the community. We also want to invite our new first Black female district attorney, Anita Reynolds Howard, to the program, and we want to talk to her about some initiatives that she is planning for the district attorney's office in moving along some of those cases where people have been sitting up in jail for years. Who have been charged with something, but their case has not been moved along. Someone may be guilty, but they deserve to have that case dealt with. And so we're going to talk with her. We also want to congratulate Chi Young, who is the newly appointed juvenile court judge. And so we want to congratulate her, Black female. We also want to extend an invitation to her to come in. So we just got a lot of people. You'd be surprised who's serving you and where they're serving. The municipal court has a Black female judge who's head of municipal court. One of the judges in juvenile court, Chi Young, was just appointed. The clerk of Superior Court, an elected position, Erica Woodford, a Black female, serves there. The district attorney. So we've got a lot of people serving in a lot of different places, folks that you really didn't know about. So we're going to be inviting those folks so that you can be proud, not only because it's Black History Month, and that's one of those things, but we want to celebrate the accomplishments of Black folks who are the only people who have an organized plan put in place against them to keep them from succeeding. And that is awful. That's terrible. But yet we prevail. Where there is that drive, then we are able to move and to make progress in spite of the institutional racism. This is Black History Month, the month of February. I have introduced a resolution to declare and to pay tribute to Black Americans during February. Black History Month. I've introduced it, and it's before our commission, and it will be read and presented to a group of organizations on next Tuesday evening at your commission meeting. There are a lot of other things that are going on, so I want to invite you to tune in to Macon Bibb's station. We're on channel 14 on Cox Cable, and every other Tuesday, the first and third Tuesday at 6:00, we have your commission meetings. That's where we finalize the business that's been taken care of in the one big, only one single committee that we have, the committee of the whole. The committee of the whole meetings, those are the meetings where we take care of the majority of the business of your government. And those meetings are held at 9 o'clock on the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month. And you, of course, can tune in to those on our Make and Bib station. Also, I believe they're on they go Facebook Live as well. So, if you want to know what's going on, if you have questions about different things, tune in to those times, and you will get a better idea of what's going on. A lot of times people misunderstand what we're doing. So you need to tune in. And then if you still don't understand it, then of course call Ask Elaine, and we will be glad to try and get you the information. Our call-in number is 478-250-1444. We once again want to extend our condolences to these families that have recently lost loved ones. We want to extend our condolences to Pastor Lisa Watson and her family in the loss of her sister. We also want to extend condolences to Dr. Mary Butler, who recently lost her sister. We continue our condolences to the Talbert family and the loss of Dr. Betty Johnson Talbert. Madam Doctor Education in Macon Bibb County. We also want to extend condolences to former Mayor Pro Tem Al Tillman and his family and the loss of his aunt. And I recently found out that his aunt and I were classmates at Old Ballot Hudson Junior High School. And so I did not know that of the relationship there. So that's why you don't need to be talking about anybody, because you don't know who's related to whom. We want to express our condolences to the Manson family and the loss of their loved one. And if you have someone else that you would like to express condolences to them and their families, we welcome you to call in to Ask Elaine. This is your public affairs, your public information station and program. Ask Elaine is for you. And we are very proud that we've been doing it for about 9 years now. And we're very proud that you think of us, you trust us to get you the information that you wouldn't get otherwise. We have some interesting stuff for you today. Interesting things for you today. One of those things that I want to do is to give you an update on what's happening in Washington as far as your stimulus check. Your next one, to those, the first one, what did we get? What did everybody get? $1,200. And then there was a $600 one, and I hope everybody's gotten it. And then this proposed one is for $1,400 for adults, and they're still kind of going back and forth on what the amount for children, for dependents will be. But I've heard that it will be $1,400 as well, but we'll see. But one of the things that I'm most excited about is the fact that the Democrats are not letting the Republicans trick them. The Republicans want to hold off on everything. But did they hold off on holding up the Supreme Court nomination when President Obama was in office and he nominated Merrick Garland for the Supreme Court? The Republicans said, we're not going to let him through, and they did not let him through. The only saving grace there is the fact that Merrick Garland has been nominated for Attorney General in the Biden administration, and probably is going to be confirmed, approved, voted on, and approved. But they're still trying to hold up all of the things. I wouldn't trust the Republicans any farther than I could throw them. You see what's going on. If you've been watching the last several days, you've been watching the impeachment trial in the Senate, and you noticed that there were 50 plus Democrats, that after all the information was provided, you had all of the Democrats and a few, I think five, maybe five or six of the Republicans voted to continue to declare that this was against the law. That what Trump did was against the law. All these other Republicans sat over there and they read books and they went to sleep and they did whatever it was they wanted to do. Just they're wasting time because they knew that they were going to vote against doing anything for Trump. And for somebody that evil, for people to sit and not do anything, they're worse than he is because he has a real serious mental problem. And half of them have a real serious mental problem in that they will not do anything about this madman. But one thing about it, y'all sure did go out and vote this last time in November. Y'all voted, y'all got your backs against the wall. You got so scared that Trump was going to be in there another 4 years, and I did too. I was so scared. I've never been so scared in all my life about somebody, the possibility of that tyrant being in there. Another, we would not have survived as a country had he been reelected. So I just salute all of you who voted. And then you came on around and you saw the opportunity to put two more Democrats who were going to look out for the people, two more Democrats in the Senate and make sure that Democrats were in charge and that we could get people programs through and enacted. And so you went back to the polls. Every age group went back to the polls, and you voted to elect Senator Warnock, Reverend Dr. Warnock, and then you also voted to put Ossoff, John Ossoff, into a seat as a U.S. Senator. But guess what? Guess what the Republicans are trying to do? They have held a news conference and they are trying to change and place term limits on the Congress persons. Now, when you get to the game and you learn the rules and you learn them well, and then you play, you go and you vote, and you elect some folks that look like you and think like you and will work for you, what do? They change the rules. When you get up there to spike the ball, then they change the rules and say you can't spike it. When you get up there and say you dance around a little bit after you score that touchdown, they change the rules, don't they? You can't celebrate after you score. So that is what is happening now. The Republicans are trying to change and put in place all of these different changes in the law to keep you from voting. Some of those changes are they want to outlaw the drop boxes, where you go and you place your absentee ballot in it. They want to outlaw that, get rid of them. Now, can you think of any good reason for doing that other than they want to keep you black and brown folks and right-thinking, moderate white folks from voting? Because they don't want you to vote either. If you're a moderate, right-thinking, decent, honest white person, they don't want you to vote either. You know that, don't you? Well, if you didn't, they don't. They don't want you because you voted along with us and we were able to elect Joe Biden as president, Kamala Harris as vice president. Now that's a real mix. And then you went back again in January last month and you put a Jewish and a black, a Jewish male and a black man in the United States Senate. So, of course, the Republicans don't want you to repeat that. They want to stay in power. And if we are smart, we will keep that in mind. I'm thinking of starting a petition drive, and I would like for everybody who hears me to please get with me and sign it. It is a petition asking our legislative delegation to oppose any law changes that would impair or diminish our rights to vote, because they're so stupid until they don't realize if they put stumbling blocks in our way, it puts stumbling blocks in their way as well. There are more poor white folks than there are black and brown folks. And so when you put stumbling blocks in the way of black and brown people, you're hurting poor white. Well, maybe you don't care. Maybe you don't care, because the whole plot is when you keep poor white folks fighting against black folks and brown folks, then you get to stay in control. Just let them fight down there on the ground over the crumbs, and then you stay above the fray, and then you get to keep all of your riches. That's been the scheme forever and ever and ever. On the plantation, put some of us in the house, and then have some others in some other places to make some feel like they were in a different category. Everybody was a slave. So you in the house, you were doing some duties. In the outhouse, you were doing some duties. In your little hut, you had your duties to do. So, but that's the way that you keep people separated. That's the way you maintain your authority over people. You keep them fighting against each other. There was a lady who wrote for the Atlanta Journal years ago, and her book won a prize. And I never will forget the theme of it. The theme was that if you keep poor whites thinking that they're being taken advantage of, that black folks are taking something from them, you can keep everybody under control. Rich folks can keep everybody under control by having groups of folks fighting against each other. And sure enough, that's the way it is. That's the way it is. We call it crabs in a bucket, where some try and crawl out and others grab onto them and pull them back down, that. But they've taken it to a higher level. And so what their whole goal is, though, is to keep all of us in place and to maintain all the authority, make all the rules, and keep all the money. I'm waiting for a call, y'all. I know I'm talking, so some of you need to call 478-250-1444. Now, this article that I'm going to tell you about now, the title is House Wants to Move Stimulus Bill with Minimum Wage Increase. $15 an hour is the proposal that a lot of folks like Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and a number of other folks have been supportive of for a long, long time. The minimum wage has been $7.25 as federal minimum wage. And those people who work for tips, I think they're still at $2. Well, when I was in college and working as a waitress, our hourly rate was $2 and something an hour, and then you worked for all the tips you could get. It has not changed from what I understand. I think the wage for those who get tips and stuff is still $2 and something an hour. Someone call me and let me know what it is if you work in that industry and you know what that figure is. But that is ridiculous. How can anybody live off of that? How can anybody live off of that? And so there's a push for an increase to $15 an hour minimum wage. And there's also a push for additional money in the stimulus package for children. And it's my understanding that it will immediately remove half of the poor children out of poverty. immediately remove half, 50% of the children who are in poverty, move them out of poverty. Now, the committee that's dealing with this, they're finalizing portions of the economic aid package, which is put in place to provide billions of dollars for schools, for health care subsidies, and food assistance programs. This package also includes a gradual increase in the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. Republicans spent the hearing lobbying for amendments that would curtail a minimum wage increase and impose requirements for school reopenings. Everything that President Biden and the Democrats are proposing that are going to help people out of poverty, keep people out of poverty, keep people in their homes, the Republicans are against. And if you tell me you are a Black Republican and you are not crazy, I don't know what to say. But anyway, yeah, I said it. You crazy. If you Black and a Republican, something wrong with you. Something's real wrong with you. Anyway, Republicans spent the hearing lobbying for amendments that would cut down on the idea of a $15 federal minimum wage, and also wanted to put in place some requirements for school reopenings. The amendments were shot down in a string of votes along party lines in the wee hours of the morning. So I say salute to the Democrats. They have finally realized that you can't trust the Republicans. They're the ones who said when President Obama was in office, we are going to, Mitch McConnell mainly, who's looking like, oh, he looks real sad these days, sitting in the back. He said, my two main goals that I'm going to have. One is to make sure that President Obama only serves one term. That didn't work. So he said, I'm going to make sure he doesn't get anything done. President Obama was the one who got the Affordable Care Act through. So he was not successful, but he was successful in holding up appointments that the president wanted to put in place, have approved at that time. But I am so glad that now under this administration, they learned their lesson. They know you can't support any Republican who will sit up there after this former president pushed people and encouraged people to attack a governmental entity like Congress, killed 5 or 7 people, one being a police officer, and several others committed suicide after the terrible situation they went through. Anybody who still supports them, you can't trust them. And now the Republicans in our own legislative delegation, these folks, the Republicans, are proposing some laws or supporting some laws. They supported the Congress people who voted against impeaching Trump. These are the Republicans, local Republicans that folks elect. So this is just for you to put in your memory bank and remember for the next time around. But these folks run again next year. They run again next year. And we need to be there. And if there is a Democrat or a progressive or someone who is a good person, who is right in the head, got his or her head on straight, we need to support them against these people and get them out of there. Now, Georgia is blue. Georgia is blue. That means there were enough people who were right thinking that we were able to go blue. Now the question is, are we going to continue to support those folks who are in our corner, those folks who want to do what's right, those folks who are going to put in place legislation that's going to be right. Because even though you may have some support on the national level, if your state and your local level are jacked up, you're in bad shape, because those are the folks that can hurt you the most. So I think what we need to be doing is to try and change the flavor of our local legislative delegation, which is right now majority Republican. And so we need to change that. We change that. And what people are thinking is that go to sleep, that you're going to go back and go to sleep and things going to be okay for a while, and then you're going to forget and stay home when there's another election. Keep in mind the election for governor and all of our legislators, those elections take place next year, 2022, next year. It'll be here before you know it. We're already in February. It looks like we just had Christmas and Thanksgiving. So this time goes fast, and the older you get, yeah, I got some witnesses out there. No, the older you get, the faster it goes. It looks like when you're little children, it takes Christmas forever to get there. You know, it takes it forever. And now it looks like you have Christmas this week, and then next week you have Christmas again. It just gets that way as you get older. But I wanted to share just a few things with you to let you know that we can't rest. We still don't have our voting rights in law yet. You know, we black folks still can't vote. We can vote, but legally we can't vote. How about that? Now, there's a law that's being proposed, a federal legislation that's going to straighten out a lot of the imbalance, a lot of the wrong that's being perpetrated on us all over this country, and will put jerk a knot into some of these legislators like ours up in Atlanta that are trying to take away or impair our voting rights. They don't want there to be no excuse absentee voting. They don't want the drop boxes. They don't want a lot of things that made it easier for a whole lot of people to vote. They want to get rid of those things. And that ought to be a signal to everybody that we need to stay in gear. What do the young folks say? We need to stay woke. Is that still something everybody says? We need to stay woke. And I know that means the same thing to all of us. If you go to sleep, then folks pull stuff on you. So if you just turned 18, if you just turned 17 and a half, and you're not registered to vote, register. You can go online, pull it up. Georgia Secretary of State, register to vote. And go ahead, and then once you turn 18, they'll send you your voter registration card, and you'll be good to go. Those who vote absentee, still keep in mind that you're still wanting to vote absentee, because I think some of these sneaky schemes that are being put in place to try and keep us from voting absentee, I think those are going to be cut off at the knees. At least I hope. Did anybody win or lose any money on the Super Bowl? I was for Kansas City, and I didn't bet. I'm glad I didn't, because they just got Mahomes. I felt so bad for him and his big toe. Which toe was it? That was anyway, I felt so bad for him. But Tom Brady is just a master. He is just, I mean, he was with that other team and won Super Bowl game after Super Bowl game, and then they got rid of him, and he went down to Tampa Bay and has won another one. I mean, he's just in charge right now. But he won't be playing for too much longer. He's very, very wealthy. He's sort of like a superstar. He's a personality, he's sort of an entertainer now. He's a celebrity. So he'll never have to worry about money. He'll never have to worry about friends and associates. And he's a celebrity. So in a few years, he'll call it quits. But he is truly a super athlete now. You have to give it to him. And the Buccaneers just whipped the Chiefs. They really did. Call me and let me know how you feel about the game. Call me and let me know how you're feeling about the topics that we're covering today. Y'all gonna let me talk for the entire hour? I've done a pretty good job. I've talked for 34 minutes already. Our call-in number is 478-250-1444. If we have someone who has a question, I would love to hear. Oh, happy birthday to former Mayor Pro Tem Al Tillman. I believe he had a birthday yesterday. He didn't show up for committee meetings yesterday. So I'm assuming that he had a real good partying time on yesterday. And he missed going out to our fire department and police department training center out on Tinker Road off of Houston Road. It is in sad shape. And we are fortunate that you citizens have voted to allow us to have that extra penny, splost money, so that we could invest in this new training center. And I have told Mayor Miller that I would support and co-sponsor a resolution, an ordinance, would be an ordinance to use splost money for public safety to upgrade to build a new training center for our fire and police public safety. Then we left our Macon one where we were just kind of in shock at the way our training center looked. No wonder we're losing, some of our firefighters. Anyway, I saw some ladies too who were firefighter trainees. That was really good. And then we left Tinker Drive and we went to Warner Robins to see their training center. And our jaws just dropped. It is just state of the art. It's fantastic. And so I'm committed, and I think all those who were on the field trip were committed to upgrading the fire and police, the public safety training center that we have. We've got the land, there's enough space. We've got very fine individuals, Lieutenant or Captain Stevens, who is head of the training, doing an admirable job. But if you don't have the right facilities and all that, it just doesn't work out right for you. So what we've got to do is to get it in gear, get enough support, and go ahead and have our public safety training center upgraded, because it surely does need it. And Mr. Former Mayor Pro Tem Al Tillman, happy birthday, but you missed seeing the contrast, the comparison between ours and the Warner Robins site. And you would have been kind of disappointed to see ours in comparison with the Warner Robins. But you're in position to vote to support the new one, and so I look forward to that. Anyway, and your tax money is going to be paying for that. So, all right, so much for that. I have some information for you on a topic that someone asked me about, and they asked me to cover because several years ago we did a health series and we were talking about foods that are healthy for you. One of the things that people love to do is eat. Yes, yes, yes. Um, and a lot of people would eat more healthy foods if the taste is there, if they taste good. Because, I mean, the quickest way to blow a diet is for you to have a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't taste good. I don't care how good it is for you. And so, most people, it takes a whole lot of commitment. But we're going to be covering for the next few weeks, we're going to be talking about healthy foods. And I'm going to pick out something that someone suggests, and we're going to talk about it. And if you want to share with us your ideas or your information on it, call us 478-250-1444. Um, Gosh, where are my usual callers? The food that I want to talk with you about today is collards. Now, there's nothing any better than delicious collard greens. My mama could make them, oh, and that boiling meat and all that stuff. And I make them three different ways, and they're all really, really good. But anyway, collard greens are good for you too. So if anybody, but what you got to do is you can't put all the grease and the salt and all that stuff in it. You got to figure out how to make it taste good. And most folks have just about figured it out. Now, my brother and his wife use turkey wings, and it has just enough flavoring and everything, and they like the taste, and it's good for them. Now, collard greens, the health benefits include detoxifying the body. It cleans your body out. Did you know that? Did you know that? I didn't know that part, but I did know that it's healthy for you. All right, collard greens also supply needed nutrients. I'm reading straight from this health information. And then it says it's instrumental in preventing cancer, strengthening bones. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, supporting digestion. Yep. Many people have that situation after eating collard greens. Preventing anemia. Yeah, some of the nutrients. It helps with keeping your body up. Lowering cholesterol levels. And look at this, supporting hair growth. Did you know that? Other benefits include slowing down the aging process. I know a lot of people are going to be eating greens now. And then managing diabetes and improving your mood. Oh my. That's an impressive list. That's an impressive thing. Collard greens are a rich source of vitamins, minerals, and fiber. So it's good for nutrition. Detoxification. Collard greens are excellent detoxifiers due to their sulfur containing compounds. So they're good as a detox. They cleanse your system out. Cancer preventions. One of the most chronic diseases known to humankind is cancer. Prevention is better than cure, and eating the right foods can be the best way to prevent cell damage and to kill cancerous cells. Bone strength. Vitamin K is one of the most necessary vitamins for the strength and building of bones. So those are in collard greens. Digestion. Most medicine practitioners till this day believe that the cause of every disease is bad digestion. Collard greens are an excellent source of dietary fiber. And anemia prevention. Collard greens are a good source of iron, containing a lot of iron. And also, there's a substance in collard greens that helps the body absorb iron better and builds more red cells. That's kind of neat. Love collard greens. Cholesterol, it helps protect the body from contracting heart diseases. Excessive cholesterol is often the cause of many heart problems. So, those of you who love to eat greens, just keep on eating them. You just got to figure out a way not to put all that salt and all that grease in them. Okay? Because that works against you. Anti-aging. They're saying that collard greens can aid in something in collard greens can aid in preventing the onset of aging earlier. And it says it also reduces the appearance of wrinkles and age-related sunspots. Isn't that interesting? Diabetes, the one disease that is affecting people at large and can lead to many other diseases, can be treated by consuming collard greens regularly. They point to the dietary fiber, which helps maintain a balanced level of glucose. And so it aids in helping and controlling diabetes. And then the last healthful effect is calming. It helps revitalize sore muscles and are known to improve your mood. Eating collard greens, isn't that something? They also help with sleeping difficulties and improve your memory. Isn't that something? It's amazing. That's amazing. Collard greens. So, those of you who love collard greens, who eat collard greens regularly, they have a lot of good effects, a lot of good things about them. So, I just say keep on eating collard greens, but without all the salt and without all the fat. And they taste delicious without all of that fat and all of that salt. You can have enough in them without excess. So that's our health information for today. Someone asked me about that, and so I wanted to share with you collard greens, something that we all love. A few people don't like collard greens, but you need to learn to like them. We're going to talk too about almonds in a few weeks, because almonds are really good for you. And then there are a number of other foods that are really, really good for you. I want to invite you to please be with us every week on Ask Elaine. We do appreciate your being here. We are on Facebook Live. We are streaming live. So please tune in on Facebook, and you can call into the show. We still have just a few minutes left, and we welcome you to call in. 478-250-1444. And I forgot, when I was thanking our sponsors, I forgot to thank my sister Beverly with Glory Cakes. And she is still in business. She still does beautiful, beautiful cakes. If you want to check out her Facebook page, you can go to the Glory Baking Company on Facebook. and you can see some of the wonderful, wonderful creations. If you give her a design, she can make that cake look like that. I've seen her do a minister's robe cake. It was a cake, but it looked like a folded minister's robe. I've seen her do a Bible, a cake that looked like a Bible. I've seen her do the baby shower cakes that looked like the expectant mom with the big belly and all of that. She can do all of those things. So give her a call, check her out. She'd be glad to hear from you. Um, I want to also share with you today the Middle Georgia Informer, the February edition, is out and it's celebrating Black History Month. And as you know, the Middle Georgia Informer is one of our supporters, and we certainly support them and encourage you. We had Miss Cornelia Walker, who was one of our phone guests a few weeks ago, who told us about the Middle Georgia Informer. This week, this month in the Middle Georgia Informer, you have your usual information on ministers, on churches, on the Tubman Museum, and we want to, in the future, welcome the new director, Mr. Harold Young, who was appointed. The Board of Trustees unanimously confirmed Mr. Harold Young as the new executive director of the Tubman African American Museum. He succeeds Dr. Andy Ambrose, who served from 2005 through 2019. Mr. Young is only the third full-time executive director in the 40-year history of the Tubman Museum. Harold Young is not new to the community, and you can find him on. He's a radio announcer, and he's also worked in marketing, and he's a musician. He just does an awful lot of things, and so we welcome him to the Tubman. Well, we don't need to welcome him. He's already there. But we want to say congratulations to him for being unanimously chosen to be the new executive director at the Tubman Museum. And we wish him well. The only other thing that we would say to you, please, is to get a membership, is to join the Tubman Museum. We would also encourage you to join the NAACP. They are on their radio program, The Truth, on Mondays at 3 or 4. And they bring to you a lot of information, but they are as strong as their membership. And when they have a serious situation to deal with, whether it's the jails or whether it's whatever it is, then they are stronger if they have the more members they have. So the membership is $30 per year. And so if you are interested in joining, please take advantage of this time and go ahead and join. Also, SCLC, Southern Christian Leadership Conference. There's a branch of SCLC here in Macon. You also have other organizations that you can become a part of. Not only do you have your sororities and fraternities, and of course, there's a certain membership track for joining those. There's also your Masonic organizations that many folks are members of, and these organizations carry a lot of weight and involve an awful lot of people in the community. So you need to join something. and especially the NAACP, National Action Network, where our very own, the late Sarah Mincy Hunt, was the president at one time. She really moved that organization to a place of prominence, and the folks who are working with it since her death, those folks are working very, very hard to keep that organization going. And so join NAN, join National Action Network. You can join the local Democratic Party. Mr. Don Druitt, who was on this show a few weeks ago, is the local president. And there is a whole group of young and more mature Democrats who are inviting you to be a part of the Democratic Party. I'm a Democrat. I don't have any problem saying it. This is my program. So, just like the lady said, these views are mine, they're not hers. So, join the Democratic Party offers for people with a conscience, people with good ideas, and people who want to do what's best. The Democratic Party, I think, is the party for you. The Republican Party is the party of rich people, even though there are a lot of them in there that are Republicans who aren't rich, and they just don't know that that's just a convenience for the numbers. That's why they're there. But you can join the local Democratic Party. There are historic groups, groups that help to save historic sites in Macon. You can join those kinds of organizations. There are just so many different kinds of projects that you can be a part of. There's a group that's working to continue saving Linwood Cemetery, keeping it up and renovating it and making it a model for a historic cemetery. And so that's worthwhile work. You can join with them and be a part of that. There are other kinds of things. There's the Rosa Parks Square board, and of course they have members who are appointed by the mayor and approved by the commission. But you could support the work. You could still support the work. There are cultural affairs organizations in Macon-Bibb County that you can be a part of. And of course, all of the many church organizations that you can be a part of. So there is no excuse for you to sit by and say that there's nothing to do, that I can't do. Even with the pandemic going on, you still can use the phone, you still can use the computer, you still can do things to help to support what's going on and what's best for this community. It is a shame for you to not use your talents, because if you don't use your talents, you lose your talents. During Black History Month, we want to salute Mrs. Dolores Cook, who was a member of the Bibb County Board of Education. She was elected in 1972. And she was the first African American elected official in Bibb County. She is pictured in a wonderful group picture of the mayor and the other 9 commissioners. And we are there in salute to Black History Month, but we're saluting Mrs. Dolores Cook, who was the first African American elected official in Bibb County. And so that's also featured in the Middle Georgia Informer. There's just so much in this Informer. The great Charles Henry Douglas's legendary theater. And if you haven't been to the Douglas Theater lately, you need to check it out. It's a beautiful theater and you own it. You in Macon-Bibb County own it. So you own a lot that you never go and see and try and help take care of. They're in need of suggestions. And so when this pandemic is out of the way or at least under control, that will be something else that you can support. There are many, many opportunities for you in this community to help in whatever area you have a desire to. But the worst thing that you could ever do is to sit back and wait for other people to do everything. And the other terrible thing to do is to waste your talent. Just to waste your talent. That would be awful. So, uh, I guess our word for today is to be encouraged and please do your best. Please try to help other people. Get your vaccine. Continue to wear your mask. Keep your distance. Wash your hands regularly or use hand sanitizer. All of those things you need to continue doing. Whew, I have talked for an entire hour. Do you believe that? Do you believe that? Now, what I want you to do is to promise me that, first of all, you'll be here again next Wednesday at 3 o'clock for another edition of Ask Elaine. And also promise me that you're going to get involved in something and that anybody that you know who's not registered, even though there's not an election right now, you don't know when there might be a special election called. Please make sure that that person gets registered to vote. Please do that. That's two things that you can do. And then look in on the elderly. If there's someone you know who needs who needs a little tender loving care, please look out for other folks. So, on behalf of all the folks here, these wonderful people here at WDDO, The Glory, which is back. It is back. It is back. They're wonderful people. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we'll look to see you again next week for another edition of Ask Elaine. Thanks for tuning in.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 980 AM WDDO, Perry, Macon.
Listen, Eden is kingdom, and Eden mindset is a kingdom mindset. Let me hear ya.